Hello, beautiful light-filled souls. My name is Trisha Barker, and I am excited to talk more about my book, Angels in the OR, and some of the themes in this book. So recently I interviewed Robert Schwartz, and I love that interview because we did touch on some tough topics that he covers in his second book. The topics like child abuse and rape and mental illness and suicide are important topics that touch so many lives. And when spirituality and reality are brought together for greater healing, then I am all on board and I'm a big fan. So, my story, I went to South Korea to teach English a few years after my near death experience. And while I was there, I was raped. And rape is common for people, believe it or not, who are not citizens of that nation because you're more vulnerable. So if you're illegal in the US, probably you have a greater chance of being raped because people know there isn't legal recourse. If you're a foreigner and you stand out and you're a Western woman in Asia, then there is this underlying belief system, maybe because of pornography, maybe for various reasons, differences in culture, but there's a belief system that Western women are loose and wild and deserving of rape. And so I was a target of that. And rape is also not an act of sexual desire, it's often an act of great hatred. So stalking and rape have the same energy of, you don't want me, I'm going to force myself on you. That energy of, how dare you not want me, and hatred really for a woman's power. That if someone is seen as powerful in some way, then there is this desire to take that away from her. And it is an act of actually taking, kind of shooting through this energetic field and taking someone's power. I felt like a cannon had been shot through my energetic field. Like it was that intense. Like I'd just been ripped wide open. And I knew, enough about energy, even at that time, to know that it was going to take a lot of work to get back to whole. So when looking at that moment in time, I became immersed in that culture. And I realized that the South Korean women who were my friends, that they had often been raped or they had not been treated fairly in their justice system. So they saw no reason for me to go to the police because they thought I would be laughed at and that no one would even care. So I didn't. And when I look back now, I wish I had, simply because it is important to document things. So I always tell people, document everything, even if you don't want to, even if it doesn't matter, that you never know what might happen years later and how these cases might be tried or how culture is forced to change. So I hope that even just talking about my experience creates a ripple effect for people who teach overseas or live overseas or just consider, what legal recourse they have when they are victims of violent crime. Another topic around the topic of rape that I want to bring up is, if any filmmaker or anyone ever visually covers a scene of rape, that's highly traumatizing to women, and it's not even the point. So I would never, if I was making a movie, show someone who is raped and show that scene. I might show the door closing or someone walk out or just allude to it. But the real point is the 5 years, 10 years, 15, 20, 30 years of PTSD, of trauma, of letting that moment go. That 1 10-minute moment of hatred becomes carried through one's life. And I'm not saying that you live in a victim consciousness after experiencing a moment like that, but I'm just saying that there's a lot of work that has to be done. And most of my anger came from that fact of knowing that, oh no, this is major. This is going to take some serious work. And I didn't even want to begin at first. I wanted to push it away and not go to the Rape Crisis Center. Once I got back to the States, I didn't want to be a part of that healing journey. What really helped me the most was working with students. And then I realized, when I encountered a culture that continued to victim blame young teenagers, when I encountered these hurting kids, men, women, various people, I knew that I had to invest in my own healing to help them more. So the more I invested in my healing, the more I could reach out and help them. But, at a basic level, I was just someone who understood my culture and what was happening. And I see it. Yeah, I saw it clearly. I still see it. So when things are not working at the highest levels at the Supreme Court, then how is it going to possibly work and filter down to other levels of society? So this issue needs to be taken seriously by everyone. That women's issues matter, women matter, women's voices matter, children's voices matter, and women aren't the only ones who experience rape. But it is a serious, serious subject, and it is one that requires great empathy from people around the person who has been victimized, and it also requires years and years of incredible healing. And so I want to point the way to quicker, faster healing, definitely. And I think spirituality and spiritual communities offer so much energetic healing of wounds like this. But I also think that we live in a collective unconscious of people in a certain time period, and justice needs to be combined with spirituality. So the reality of being an activist and being someone who works for a better world with this world of healing, I would just love to see these worlds come together. But that's one of my wishes and my hopes. May you be blessed, and I hope you reach out to make your world a much more beautiful